In today's lesson, I'm going to show you exactly how to hit these killer slice backhands that stay low and skid to the court by learning the 5 simple techniques that all the professional players use. Make sure you stick around to stage 3 of this video, where we'll also show you the secret swing shape which has allowed us to help thousands of club players all around the world transform their slice backhand.
For today's video, we're not going to be going into the grips on the slice backhand in too much detail, because otherwise the video may be too long. So the general recommendation is have the continental grip, which is on bevel 2 for your slice backhand. Now, having a killer slice backhand, it all starts with a good preparation phase. Now, what are some of the main keys you're going to see with good preparation? Some of the first keys are you want to get into what we call a good ready position, where your feet are 1.5 to 2 shoulder widths apart, so you have a wide athletic foundation. I'm also looking from the side angle, I'm pushing my hips slightly back. The other thing you're going to see are my hands are away from my body. Very, very important. Looking from the side angle, see the space here I have. Many players have the opposite effect, where the hands start too close, and then what they end up doing is activating the arm independently to the body to prepare. And that's where everything breaks down. Now, let's talk about the non-dominant hand real quick. I'm going to talk about it for both two-handed backhand players and one-handed backhand players. For one-handers, it's quite simple. In your ready position, you'll have the non-dominant hand on the throat of the racket, and you're going to keep it there as you prepare and turn away. Now, for two-handed backhand players, when you're in your ready position, you're most likely going to be in a position where the non-dominant hand is on top of the grip like this when you're in your ready position. And then as you anticipate the slices coming, you'll slide your non-dominant hand up to get to this position. And see how all I'm doing is cradling the racket with the non-dominant hand. My index finger is also on the strings. This gives me control of the racket head. Now that we have everything set in terms of ready position and arm structure, what happens from here? What happens is I anticipate the slices coming, and my first action is turning the shoulders away from my target. And if you see now from the side angle, I've turned to a point where my chest is pointing to what would be the side fence. The left side fence for a righty, or would be the right side fence for the lefty. Now also, I'm able to look over my dominant shoulder at this point, as you can see. So by doing this, I've now coiled my upper body against the hips, which pre-stretches the muscles. The next thing you're going to see, my non-dominant hand and my non-dominant elbow is raised. One of the most common issues we see on the slice is players do this. They dip the elbow, and look what's happened to my racket face. See how it's now opening up to the sky. And this is really problematic because now you have more corrections to make the contact, what makes it very difficult. So when you are at the end of the unit turn, you should see non-hitting elbows raised, strings are pointing slightly just to the outside, and they're not too open. And the last thing, my hitting arm is relatively straight already. Okay? You don't want to have this. You don't want to have the arm too bent. You want to just be in this position at the end where turn the shoulders, arm relatively straight, cradling the racket with a non-dominant hand, and they're raised away from my body. And those are the main keys you're going to see for the preparation on the slice backhand. Now, going about and just working on it, just keep it very simple. I'm not really going to go into too many drills today. I just want to go over the basic fundamentals. But to just practice the preparation in a simple manner, simply start in your ready position, elbows and hands out and away. And now from here, just turn the shoulders away from the target and stop. And double check all the positions, all look good, reset back. Do it again. Turn away and hold. All looks good. And that's how you can work on the preparation in a very controlled environment. Now that we have your preparation and unit turn down, we now need to go into your hitting arm structure. The hitting arm structure is one of the most important keys for your slice backhand, and if you get it right, it's going to lead to you hitting the ball a lot better quickly. So, what are the main keys? After I've completed my preparation and unit turn, I'm in this position. What you want to see is the arm is already relatively straight. Okay, it may have just a very subtle bend in it. But now, as I start to initiate the swing forward, you want to straighten the arm. You want to keep it straight. And the other thing you're going to see is, as I do start to swing forward, look at my wrist position. See how it's cocked. And you can see from the front angle, my racket head always will remain above the level of my hand slightly. What you want to avoid, so many players do the opposite, as when they start to swing forward, two things happen. They bend the hitting arm and they collapse their wrist. And by having this structure, you've lost all your stability, which means it's going to be very difficult to generate any power on the slice backhand. So what you want to feel, you've completed the preparation and unit turn. As you begin to swing forward, you straighten that arm and you also slightly cock the wrist. Now from here, you just swing from the shoulder, maintaining the straight arm throughout the whole swing. So now what has this done? It's essentially given you just one unit of which you just got to move from the shoulder. So you've simplified the motion. Here's a quick and simple way now you can just work on reinforcing this straight hitting arm. And what you're going to do is take a couple of balls and you're going to go into your isolated position already. And what I mean by that is, I don't want you to start from the ready position. I want you to already get into your neutral stance. So the feet are now lining up with what would be the single sideline, okay? Now from here, you're already also going to complete the preparation. So now my hands are already at my end of my unit turn, as you can see here. Now all I'm going to do now, you can also, if you makes it easier for you, you can choke up on the racket, on the grip, gives you a little bit more control. And what I'm going to do is toss the ball under my hitting arm at approximately a 45-degree angle into the court. And when I do that, after I release, I'm then going to feel that I'm straightening the arm and just swinging from the shoulder, trying to keep the arm straight. Let me just show you that. So here, I go there, straight. Watch again. So I already started my neutral stance. I turn slightly, under arm, straight. Watch one more. Underarm, straight. And the whole objective is trying to maintain this straight hitting arm as I swing throughout on the slice backhand. The banana style swing. Now on the slice backhand, you want to develop what we refer as the banana style swing shape. Now what does this exactly mean? What this means is, at the end of the preparation, as we discussed, the hands are starting in a relatively high position. So they're somewhere around shoulder level, as you can see right here. Now, from this point, you're going to swing down to contact. Okay, there's going to be a downward motion here. But now, after I reach contact and I start to swing through, the racket will continue to go down slightly, but then the key is you want it to come back up and out towards your target. So that's why we reference this as the banana style swing, since it goes high to low to high. It's that circular swing. If you look from the back angle, you can see the reason that we want to do this. When we swing high and low down to contact, and then when we come back up and go high, where is my racket and strings going? It's going out towards my target, which will allow me to drive the slice and keep the ball low, which is exactly what we want to do. Most players, they do the opposite. When they swing down and across the body too much. And the reason they do this is when you watch the pros on television, you do see them sometimes where they really swing down and across. But most of the time they're doing this because they're dealing with such heavy and deep balls. So they got to counteract that and they swing down a little bit more. But if you want to develop a good drive slice that stays low, you want to work on this high, low, high swing, or what we reference as the banana style swing shape. Now working on this banana style swing shape, all you got to do is just start with just a few shadow swings first, where again you can already start in your isolated position. So my feet are already lined up with the single sideline. I'll start at the end of my preparation again, and what I'm going to do here is swing down to contact and then focus on coming back up and out towards my target. And now that I also have stage 2 in place, which is the straight hitting arm structure, I can also bring that in a little bit. So I can focus on keeping the arm straight and then swinging from the shoulder with this banana style swing. And I just do a couple of these. Just like this. And then after I feel comfortable that that looks good, you can then add a ball and you can do some self-feeds. So I go underarm, swing. Need to lift a little bit more on that one. Let me do it again. Underarm, swing, just like so. Now let's move on to stage 4, which is the most important part of any swing, and that is your contact. Now the contact position on your slice backhand is vitally important just like any other stroke. But on the slice, it's even more so. What you want to see, when I swing to contact and I stop, this is providing now that I have a sufficient grip. Again, we're not really covering grips here, but the continental grip will be just fine for this. But when I do stop at contact, what I should see is my racket face here is just minimally open, just a few degrees, as you can see, okay? The commonalities we see with a lot of club players is the racket face is either too open, so they really cut in under the ball. This can be caused by also a bad grip. Now, if I'm doing this and my racket face is this open, what's gonna happen with my ball flight? The ball is gonna float and it's gonna sit up, which is obviously very detrimental if you're playing points, because now you're giving the opponent a very offensive ball to take, okay? Now, the other commonality we see, if players have the incorrect grip in the other direction, the racket face may be a little bit too vertical, which makes it difficult to really slice the ball. So if you're on continental grip, then when you do reach contact, you want the racket face just minimally open, as you can see here. Now the next thing, when I reach contact looking from the front angle, you should also see now that I have this cocked wrist position. So my knuckles are pointed slightly up, meaning that the racket face is just slightly above the level of my hand. What you want to avoid is this, where you start to collapse the racket. And by collapsing the racket, the wrist is going to collapse and it's going to destabilize your whole arm. So looking from the front, try to get also this position at contact where the racket remains slightly above the hand and your wrist is slightly cocked. Very, very important. And finally, looking from the back angle, when you do get to contact, what you should see, my hand and racket are spaced diagonally away from my body at contact. Even on the slice backhand, you want to be swinging inside out, which means you start close to the body on the inside, then you swing away from the body to the outside. Okay, and you want this diagonal spacing. What you want to avoid, which a lot of players do, they end up overcrowding the ball, and then when they do swing, they're too close, and that makes it very difficult to get any leverage. So you can't really develop a powerful and driving slice backhand. Now let's move on to the final stage of developing a killer slice backhand, and that is all about staying sideways. Now for the final stage, we're going to talk about how you want to stay sideways on your slice backhand. And the reason this is so important, staying sideways, is by keeping my body sideways, it allows me to then maintain this forward extension out towards my target. Remember back to the stage where we spoke about the swing path, we want that high, low, high swing. However, if you think about this logically, if my body starts to open up too much and I do this, what's going to happen with my swing? My swing is going to start to pull across and away from my target, which again means that around contact, you're going to be swiping down and across too much, which if you mistime this, the ball again is going to sit up and it's going to float. So what you want to do instead, as you start to swing through contact, you want to keep your chest pointing to the side. For the right-handed player, it's pointing to the left side curtain or fence. For the left-handed player, it'll be pointing to the right side. Okay? And as I swing through, I keep my body sideways, as you can see right here. Now, what are the two main areas you can focus on to help you stay sideways? Those two areas are your head and your non-dominant hand. Let's talk about the head movement first. As you swing down to contact and you start to swing through contact, what you want to do is keep your head down and your eyes pointing towards contact. You know, you often see Federer do this, or used to do this, so beautifully. And this is not just for show, this has a lot of utility behind it. Because if you think of this, your head is your main steering device. So if I swing to contact and then I pull my head up to look where the ball is going, look what's happening with my body. I go here and then I pull up. My body opens up with it. So what you want to see is you swing to contact and then you keep your head down and still through contact. That will help you control your body. Now, the next thing, your non-dominant hand. The non-dominant hand plays a vitally important role, and it's a great counterbalance to help you stay sideways. And what I mean by this, when you swing down and initiate the downward swing to contact, the non-dominant hand is going to start to separate from the racket. When it separates, you want to bring the non-dominant hand back behind your body like this. and then you keep it there as you swing through. Because by activating this back behind you, it's the counterbalance. It stops you from rotating and over-rotating. Okay? And one of the best ways to think about this, imagine when you're standing here, you have a wall behind you or a fence. And when you swing through, you want to try and touch the wall behind your back as you swing and you finish. That will help you stay sideways and keep the chest pointing to the left side curtain. Now you can practice staying sideways again with some simple shadow swings and even with a self feed. With your shadow swing, you can start from your isolated position. You can start at the end of the unit turn, swing through, focusing on keeping your head still and activating the non-dominant arm back behind you. And just do this a few times. I swing through and I hold. And you should see at the end, your chest is still pointing directly to the side as an exaggeration. Okay? See one more. Swing through and hold. Then you can add a ball and you can do some self feeds. So again, in the isolated position, toss, swing. And I'm not looking where the ball goes. I'm just focusing on staying sideways as I swing. Okay, my racket face a little open on that one. Let me make the adjustment. So here, it's better. And I can even feel on that one, my body wanted to open a little bit and I had to really force it from opening up. Okay, but staying sideways is really going to clean out your slice backhand and it's going to allow you to hit that drive slice that stays low and skids through the court. So that sums it up for the 5 simple steps to transform your slice backhand. Now let's just quickly summarize those steps. First stage is all about that unit turn and preparation, feeling that it's an upper body movement, keeping everything quiet with the arms. And then from there we move on to stage 2, which is now your hitting arm structure. And the keys about that is straightening the hitting arm structure, keeping it straight throughout the swing, and also getting that good cocked wrist position when you're swinging through contact. That then leads us on to the third stage, which is about your swing path. That's where we want to develop that banana style swing shape, where you go high, low, and back high out towards the target. That then leads us on to stage 4, which is all about the contact position. And at contact, you want to see the racket face minimally open, but you want to ensure that you have a good stable structure. So you want to have the racket head slightly above the hand, and you don't want to destabilize anything there. And then to finalize on stage 5, it's all about staying sideways and keeping the body sideways so you can maintain good extension out towards your target. So that sums it up for today's video. Thank you all very much for watching. Now, if you are watching this video and you're interested in really trying to learn these fundamentals of the slice backhand, then you can right now get a personalized video analysis of your slice backhand by an OTI instructor for just $10. So if you are interested, go beneath this video where you'll find a link and you can go ahead and get your slice backhand reviewed. But once again, thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.